Alright, so for today I'm going to start off by just doing a review of extrusions, and instead of making a table, what I'm going to do is build that garbage can right there. So a garbage can is different than a table because it's a garbage can, not a table. But the other part is when we built our tabletop and our legs, they are all solid forms. But if you look at a garbage can, it has a void in the middle of it. So in our extrusion menu, there's also something called void forms, and that's what we'll be talking about today. So if you want, you can work in your extrusion file that we worked on last time. You can open up a new blank template, it doesn't matter which one, or even work in your midterm. Any one of those works. But I'm going to start off by going over what extrusions are again, how to create them. We're going to add one more step, and that's the step of adding the void form. And then after that, I'll be going over materials again. And Heather, I think you asked a question about lights, like if you can add lights in here. I've never done it before, but I'll just go see what's in the systems menu and let's place a couple and see how it goes. Okay? It might not go well, so you might get a shortened lecture, but we'll see. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that I have more than one view open. Bless you. So I've got my 3D view, my first floor, as well as an elevation. And again, these help me so that I can really see what I'm creating in real time. And just to give you guys some background information, if you guys weren't here last class, we essentially built a little set for our table so that when we went to go render it, we could see what it looked like. For now, don't worry about building a set or anything like that. Let's just focus on creating that garbage can, and then eventually we'll get it into one of your models, or you can build a little set for it. So I'm going to go back to my hidden line view, and I keep doing it wrong. You guys tried warning me last time. And I'm even going to change my flooring type just because I don't want to see the wood slats. That'll make it easier for me to work for now. Alright, is everybody ready to start doing a les poubelles, as they say? That's like the only thing I remember from my French class is how to say garbage can. So I was like, that is a beautiful name for garbage can. Alright, so with any extrusion, we actually go to our same component menu that we typically go to for furniture. And once we select that, there is a button. It ends up being in the middle of my screen called Model in Place. And just when I hover over it, you can see all the different massings that you can create. So we click on Model in Place, and it wants to know what are you about to create, so it can categorize it. It's categorizing it so it can show up in a schedule. So for example, if you do a furniture schedule, it will recognize, like last week we did the IKEA side table, it would recognize that this thing labeled IKEA side table is part of furniture, and it'll add it to your schedule. I don't think I mentioned that last time, so I'm going to do furniture again, and this time I'll just call it garbage can. So now we are in the Create menu. So we have to click on Create. Not very intuitive, but go ahead and click on Create for me. And what we're going to be working on today again is extrusion. I'll show you a little bit about what these buttons do. I don't use them a lot, but I'll at least kind of walk through them with you so you guys can play with them. But with extrusion, when you click on this button, essentially what you're doing is let me go through and just sketch out something totally random. You're just sketching something out, and then along with sketching it out, what's going to happen is over here in your properties, you are saying where it starts. So 0 means that it starts on the floor. So if I zoom here, do you guys see these pink lines? That's showing me where that's going to start on my floor. So most things start on the floor, but for example, in our last class, our tabletop right here that I'm kind of hovering over, that doesn't start on the floor. It starts however many inches up your tabletop is. But I'm going to keep this one on the floor, and I'm going to make it 6 feet tall. And then when you're done drawing and extruding, you hit the green check mark, And now I've got, let me finish model. Where are you? Let me zoom out a little bit, sorry. Let's go to another camera view. There it is. There's my monster blob. So you can really create anything, but you just have to make sure that you're working on the floor plan. So let me close that out. And what we're going to do now is essentially draw that garbage can. Wait, I shouldn't have done that. Let me go back here. Remember how I told Revit this was a garbage can? This is like the most abstract garbage can in the world. What I'm going to do now is something that all of you guys might do, whether it's a garbage can or changing a table. You can click on an item, and do you see how Edit in Place pops up? The other thing that you can do is double click on it, and it takes you back into this Edit menu. So now what I need to do is I am going to click on this mass right here, and in this case, in my Create menu, I'm actually not going to modify it. I'm just going to delete it. I'm still in the garbage can, but I just deleted that part of the garbage can. So if I were in my table and I didn't like a table leg, I could delete that table leg. That's essentially what I've done here. But now I'm going to go back to Create, and I'm going to go back to Extrusion. And I'm going to pick a circle to sketch. And I think that that garbage can is about 18 inches. So I'm going to go out 9 inches. I'm just going to do 0 space 9. And that should be an 18-inch garbage can. And then from here, I can click the green check mark. And that's the first part of my garbage can. And I'm going to go to my 3D view and see if I can spin it a little. And there's a preview of my really tall garbage can. Whoops, I forgot to say how high it was. So all I need to do now is click on it. And I would say that it's about 40 inches. Does that look about right? Let's make it 40 inches tall, not 6 feet. But it would look like one of, if I kept it that way, you know those little things that dance in front of stores? Just look like a really solid version of one of those. Okay. Riley, I hate to put you on the spot. So far, so good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And now what we want to do is go back to Create. So just to give you guys context, last time when we worked on this, we kept creating table legs or tabletops. So we're still in that mode, but what we're going to do now is create a void form. So we essentially want to put a hole in this. So if I go to Void Forms, here's my void extrusion. And if you guys take a peek at my screen, well, let's just do a practice one real quick, and then we're going to delete it and do another one. Let's just see how it works. So if you go to Void Extrusion and you pick a circle, why is it giving me a no? Are you guys getting, oh, hang on. Is it mad at you guys too? Is it saying you can't draw? Oh, never mind. Just click into your screen and then it'll be happy again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my void extrusion outside of it so you can see where it's being cut. And I think I'm actually going to do it here. So right now, this whole thing is my void form. And if I only make this 3 feet tall, you'll see that it'll only cut half of it. So this whole thing is basically something that will cut out of this form. So when I hit the green check mark now, let me finish the model. Wait, let me hit cancel. It's saying it's not deleting anything. Let me try it one more time. Let me check in with the crowd. Did you guys get your void to cut anything? Any warnings? Weird.
My circle,
Uh-huh.
it like just disappeared.
Your void extrusion or the extrusion for your garbage can?
The extrusion for the garbage can, it just never showed up.
Really?
No, I can't see it.
So what menu are you in right now? Are you in Modify Extrusion?
I'm not in anything now.
Okay, if you can't see it, maybe it just didn't draw at all. Like if you do a zoom all and you don't see it, maybe try drawing it one more time. What I'm going to do though, I am wondering if I actually needed to draw my void extrusion in this model right here. So I'm going to go to, let me back up, and I am going to edit this one right here. So do you see how I double clicked on it? Now I'm back in edit mode. Let me try creating the void forms. Oh no, it won't let me do it in here. I'm doing something wrong, but I don't know what, unfortunately. Create, okay, let me go back and do a yes mark on this. Let me do it the right way. Either way, it still should take a chunk out. See how even in the example, it's showing a void coming off of that bottom corner? That's essentially what I'm trying to do with the circle. Let me try doing it the way I typically teach it and see what this does. But I'm back to the circle, and what I'm doing right now is I'm going to offset this 1/4 of an inch. And what this allows me to do is to find the circle. Sorry. Oh, this is going to be tricky. Let me show you guys how to find the center of a circle. See how the center of the circle is not coming up immediately? You have to right click, and then do you see where it says snap overrides? I don't think we've ever had to do this before, right? Yeah, usually it just comes up. But if you right click, you can go to snap overrides and find your centers. So I'm going to try to find the center of my garbage can. And when I have it offset 1/4 of an inch, you can see that it does pop it in 1/4 of an inch.
Did you click on it first to get snap overrides?
I had to right click. So I was in circle mode.
Oh, I see.
Yep, so just select which sketch you want and then right click. And you have to select the circle to find the center of. Don't try to find the center of the circle yourself. Kind of backwards.
So I found my thing, but
Okay.
it's like in the footing.
Oh, you may have drawn it on the wrong level. So what Julianne and I did yesterday, it's like an easy cheat. Go to your bottom of footing. Is that what level? So if you click on it,
Or top of
okay, go to that level and click on it, and then cut and paste it. So Control X takes it out of that level, and then go back to your first floor, and then paste it in that level. That's the easiest way to fix it. Did that work?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I have to pay attention to that because that's the second time it's happened. So I'm wondering why it's switching to a floor that we've essentially never used before. And then here, I'm going to do one other thing. Extrusion start. I don't want it to start in the ground. I don't want it to have a hole in it, like anybody would ever know, but we would know. So I'm going to start at 1 inch up, and I'm going to take it 7 feet up in the air, just so I know that it's going to come above that 6 feet. Okay, and let me see if this works. Yeah, that time it worked. That's so weird. It should have worked the first time, to be honest. Whoops. I'm actually gonna take off my ceiling real quick. I can't while I'm in this mode. Do you guys see that I have a hole in here now? Okay, I'm gonna walk through that whole thing one more time, no pun intended. I'm gonna go ahead and finish it. Oh, okay, you know, maybe you get that warning, but it still will work, because I got that same warning again, but it worked. Okay, I'll go through that one more time with you guys. Let's go to, all right, so I'm going to build this exact same garbage can right next to it, and then I'm also going to play with another void form after I do that, just to see if I can do a random void form. Okay, so from the top, we go to our component menu, and we're going to build our own component.
How do I get back to where I got the regular menu?
So somewhere up here, look in your menu, is anything green or blue that you can click on?
Yes, sorry, I just had to click that.
That's all right. And then once you're here, what does it say? Yeah. So if you want, hit the red X and we can start over together. Ready, Freddie? Okay. So I'm going to go back to component. Okay. And then again, model in place. And what I want to do here is furniture again. And I'm going to see if it gets mad at me if I have two things called garbage can. So yes, it does get mad at me. So I'm going to say garbage can number 2, or maybe garbage can small. And I'm going to make this one not as tall. I'll only make it 2 feet tall. So from our modify menu, we actually want to hop into create so we can start our first extrusion. And I'm going to choose a circle. And I'll still make it 18 inches, so I'm just going to do 0 space 9. So it's half of 18. And then over here on my extrusion start and end, I want this to start on the ground. Whoops. And I also want it to be 2 feet tall. And then after you get those two things, you can go ahead and hit your green check mark, and you have a solid sphere. At least you can kind of see it in mine. Let me change the view settings real quick. I'll just go to hidden line. There you go. So there's the first form. Did everybody get that part okay? Yep. Now let's try the extrusion portion of it. So back to create and void forms. Void extrusion. Now we're going to go back to that same circle, and this is the part where it's a tiny bit tricky. Before I get too far though, I'm going to set my offset to be 1/4 of an inch. And if you go along the perimeter of your circle and you don't see the center pop up, this is where you right click and you go to snap overrides and find your center. So midpoint is the midpoint of a line, and center is the middle of your circle. That's the difference between the two. And then to find the center, you have to click on the circle you're trying to find the center of. Sorry, not click, but hover on it. And then as soon as you click, mine is snapping at 1/4 inch increments. But I want to find my first click to the left. Okay. And then come back over to your properties. And we want our extrusion to start anywhere up from the ground. So it can be 1, 2 inches, whatever you want. This time I'll do 2 inches. And then just make sure your extrusion ends above the height. So if it's 2 feet, even 2 feet 1 inches will take care of it. Okay. You guys got those okay? Then when you're done, hit your green check. And then you can see the preview of the extrusion and the void extrusion. And now when I finish the model, I didn't get a warning that time, which is great. But you can see what that looks like. Did you guys get a garbage can? Yeah. Heather, no? Oh no, they too. Which menu are you in? Okay, so you're still in create. Sometimes the thing that's tricky is when you are in create mode, you're just drawing the pink lines on the ground. Did you have...
The pink line was hovering over the top of my blue, so maybe that's why. It wasn't offset. I mean, it did.
Oh, got it.
I clicked inside and it was at 8 3/4. And then when I clicked off to the side, it pulled it back out over the top of the
So you think you may have just put a void extrusion on the whole thing? So what I would do, hit Control Z and see if you can go back to the void extrusion part of it. Is it there? Cool. Now just try to change your offset one more time. And while I'm in here, what I'm going to do real quick, I'm just going to kind of go off on my own for a moment. I'm going to double click on it again, and I am going to take my void extrusion, and I'm going to do what I was trying to do earlier. See how I'm pulling it out to the side? So actually, let me pull it out this way, because I think I can see that in my camera view. And I'm going to finish it. There we go. It worked that time. I don't know why it was mad at me before, but that's how Revit goes. So you can do weird random extrusions like this too, if you're trying to do something sculptural or just something that isn't necessarily symmetrical. I'm going to pop over here so that I shall make sure you get yours. Okay, so hit escape for me. And then right click, and then go back to center. So snap override center. Yep, and then click on your line. Yep, and now click again. And it should be pulling out from the center. Did it? Yeah, there you go. And then when you come to this outer line, so everything, like it's going in quarter-inch increments, I think you can go one more closer. There you go.
Do I need, that's a half-inch offset then.
Actually, that's fine because the way that we did it, it's 9 inches total, right? And so to come in a quarter from each side ends up being a half. There you go.
So just put there.
And now check your heights. So do your extrusion start an inch or two up, just so there's not like a, I know nobody would ever see, but from the start, 2 foot 1 is okay because you want to go above the top of the garbage can. But your extrusion start, see how I made a little base for it? Yeah. And then finish model. And now in your 3D view, pull that down a little bit, and you should be able to see it there too. All right. You can go home and tell your family you created garbage today. All right, so that is void forms. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to pause and stop the lecture, and I'm going to start a new one because this next part is not something I typically do, and then I'll also review how to add materials and stuff, and we'll go through lighting. But I'll do that one separately, so if it's so terrible, we don't ever have to talk about it again.